I think when we talk about nervous system, people just go brain, right? Like they yell that brain. And that's something that they think of right away. And although that's true, and that's probably the number one organ involved with this, your nervous system is intricately woven all the way throughout your entire body. I mean, there is not a millimeter of distance across your entire body that does not have a nerve attached to it or a neuron that actually signals and gets information from that. That's why you can lay the very tip of your finger on something that's hot and you go, whoa, that's hot, or even getting close to it, because you have so many receptors all over the body. And so you do have the brain. That's the main control center that takes in all of the sensory information, puts out motor. You have logical thought as a human being, like we can make decisions and we can decide between, make choices between something that we like or something that we don't, or something that we love, and we have emotion, and all those things are all inside the brain, right? Now, the spinal cord is the long cord inside your spine that actually drives all of the sensory information up and then brings all of that motor information out. And it's a giant freeway or a highway of information. And that system, that part of the system, is very vital to making sure that all of the signals get where they should go, right? Like if your spinal cord is injured or damaged, then you can lose, even if you don't become paralyzed, you can lose function one way or the other. You can either get too much function, they call that hyperesthesia, where you'll get too much feeling sometimes, or you'll get overactivity of a muscle, or you may get a lack of a certain function, or excitability, meaning that the nerve is firing too much on a reflex. So when they do reflex testing and we test a triceps reflex, it should barely swing, not, in your whole arm, go crazy. When that happens, there's damage either to the nerve or to the spinal cord, depending on what happens, right? Nerves is the next step. So nerves come off of the spinal cord. They go everywhere in the body. You have sensory nerves. You have motor nerves. There's so many different things about these nerves. And as we get to the dietary part and the supplements that I recommend to help this system work well, I'm going to talk about the structure of those nerves a little bit more and how they work, so that you understand why I recommend you to not eat certain things and why I recommend that you do eat other things to make sure that they're really healthy. Okay. The nerves are literally the messengers in this system to be able to tell your bicep, let's say, what to do. Like when you have a thought in your brain and you're like, hey, I want to pick up my phone's sitting here by me. If I want to pick it up and I want to lift it, there's not a thought in your mind to go, lift the phone. Like you don't have to go through that thought process and manually make your body do it. That's not what happens. Like your body is so intricately connected and it works so well that you literally reach over and grab it, and your brain, you go, I need my phone. You had a thought that had to happen. I need my phone. You reach down and your hand opens up. Look at my hand. Your hand opens up because you're about to pick it up. As it gets closer, it wraps around the phone. I twist the phone up and pick it up. Those nerves have to fire in order for the muscles to know that we need it to pick up. Otherwise, you look at it and you're like, and nothing happens, because the nerves aren't delivering the message that your brain needs that muscle to get in order to make things happen. When you pick up a pen, right? If you're holding a pen and you say, hey, I want to pick up this pen, your brain sends a signal to all these muscles and you grab a pen, okay? If that signal doesn't get there, it doesn't happen. Very important. It's also very important for all of the different organs in the systems that happen subconsciously. So the different signaling of different hormones and things that happens in your endocrine system. I mean, all of that is derived and directed by hormone release and nerve firing. If the nerves to those areas aren't operating correctly, we got a problem. Like that organ can't do its job. Or if you have a nerve issue along the lining of your gut, those muscles can't contract and move food through. Do you understand? So it's a very long process to get the signal from your brain out to the tip of your finger and back again, making sure that everything works. And that's really what the brain's job is. The brain's job is to be able to organize and decide what needs to happen, make a decision, send out signals to the body to tell the body what to do, and then take information back in after those things happen to analyze it, to categorize it, and to file it away so that it knows how to do it better next time. It knows what the response was last time, so that you can adapt and change and do things better. And that's what the brain's doing all the time. It's analyzing every single thing that's happening, and it's analyzing your environment. And part of the brain on the inside of that nervous system, called your limbic system's whole job, is to make sure that you feel safe. So there's so many different layers to this, and I may go through and do a whole nother video just on the limbic system so that you understand more about that, and we'll separate that out by itself, because just in that alone, and talking about how effective our emotional oils are in young living, the limbic system is fascinating, and talking about the steps to that and how it happens, we'll get to that, right? The last little structure that I wanted to talk about that is tiny in nature but huge in function are your neurotransmitters. So one thing that people don't understand is that nerves don't actually connect to each other when they're talking. So you have these long parts of the nerve are called dendrites, where the nerve and these are called dendrites. This is the nerve belly. This is called the axon, where the actual body of the nerve is. Like you can think of your hand. Well, when it comes to it, the nerves don't actually touch. There's a gap in here, right? So let's take one of these little gaps, and it looks like this. This right here is called the synaptic cleft. There's this opening, and there's this these are synapses, and this synaptic cleft is this open area where the nerves are close to each other, but they never actually hit like this, right? What happens is you have these in the synaptic cleft, you have these neurotransmitters that go across back and forth in order to transmit information. Acetylcholine is one. There's different ones that are in that area. Now, the other area where neurotransmitters are very important is in the brain. You have a lot of neurotransmitters that are in the brain. Part of them are made in the gut, like serotonin is created in the gut by your probiotics, and then is used in the brain to be able to choose to be happy. So when someone goes, just have a good attitude, be happy, and your gut's all messed up and your brain doesn't have the neurotransmitters you need, your brain's like, not happening, right? Like your brain's like, be happy. That's funny, because it's really hard to make those logical thoughts without serotonin and dopamine and the different neurotransmitters that go across that part of the brain in order to take volitional thought through the different sections of the brain so that you can actually do something with it, okay? And so those are really important as well. We've got great products to be able to support that. Diet and movement plays a huge role as well. But, you know, that whole section of the brain links directly with your gut. And we've talked about digestive system in other classes, and so go back to that. So how well your gut is functioning, how good a supply of good bacteria you have or not, how much toxicity or damage you have or not plays a big part in how well your body can create those neurotransmitters. And that plays a huge part in how well your brain works. Crazy how it's all connected, right? I mean, so intricately connected, and it's amazing. So